This month we are headed to Paris and revisiting Wellington's Gold in Book 4 of my Currents of Love series, Courting the Enemy. Welcome back everyone, I'm Emilee Harris, author of STEAMY Historical Romances, and today I am introducing, as mentioned, Book 4 of my series. And throughout the month, I will be sharing some little tips and, well, not really tips, tidbits and author inspiration items that go along with this book. I have to show off that I finally bought a paper copy of this. Of all the rest of my books, I finally have the whole series paperback. All right, moving on. So, Paris. When we left off, and you'll remember this from December, I was talking about book 3, which was To Love in Silence. And we left off at the end of that book with one of the Langdon sisters having gone missing, and some tensions and issues between our main espionage-related characters, which are Eric Langdon, the youngest brother of the family, and his former best friend, Sir Thomas. We start off book 4, in that case, with Marissa Langdon, who is the sister who went missing, and she has been kidnapped and is being held in France by her kidnappers. We also have a relation of book 3's heroine, Alain Durand, who is a French army officer who has been betrayed by his father and handed over to the British. He is now languishing in a prison ship. He ends up striking a bargain for his release, one of the conditions of which include tracking down said Langdon sister and bringing her back to England. Now, while he doesn't have too much issue with that part of the conditions of his release, he has absolutely no intention of maintaining the other promise he made, which is aiding the British in getting a gold shipment to Wellington. You might recall that this was one of those fun tidbits I ran into as I was researching Dunkirk, and I decided to make it kind of the main theme of this book. So while there is the overall story theme of we have our main character from the Langdons who needs to get home, and we have our other main character who wants to get revenge on his father for betraying him, we also have this lovely backdrop of this conspiracy theory of, did the Rothschilds send gold to Wellington or did they not? And, you know, who's going to win the war? I also decided in this book to focus on the city of Paris itself, because this was another fun item that I was able to research a little bit when I started out looking at Dunkirk, but through that process I was really I became more interested in what about the capital city. I knew that Napoleon had made a lot of changes to Paris, had made a lot of improvements, had done a lot of things that maybe didn't improve the city so much, but that was an interesting kind of area of history that I hadn't gotten to explore too much, so I said, why not? Let me send my characters to Paris. So I did. I sent them to Paris. They get to visit some of the more popular and well-known social places of the time. to include cafes, restaurants, theaters, etc. Oh, shopping district, gotta have that. And I just had so much fun with having my characters tool around Paris. It was wonderful. There were also 2 additional themes that I had fun with. The first one, because for some reason I enjoy giving my characters kind of odd hang-ups, is the idea of having to prove your strength. And specifically, this tends to happen for my female characters, because at the time, we're talking, early 1800s, what were the social norms for women? What were the expectations of them? And actually, before and for a long time after, women were often thought of as being frail and fragile. So Marissa has to deal with this throughout her segment of the book, and this is not helped by the fact that she is prone to anxiety attacks, rather debilitating anxiety attacks, and therefore she's got to figure out a way to kind of deal with this along the way, and the interaction between the 2 characters, how they kind of, I've noticed I say that a lot. I did that the last book too, kind of, I say that a lot. But the 2 characters and how they support each other, or how they balance each other out. So I played around a little bit with that. And then the second topic, which is of great interest to me, is the idea of family, meaning blood relations, and patriotism specifically. What does it mean to be a patriot? I won't say I go into great depth with any of these. I like to kind of skim the surface because I don't want to get too into it for anyone who maybe is not interested in the theme. But it's an important topic for me, being basically a first-generation American and having grown up feeling like I didn't quite belong in either place. In Europe, where my family's from, or here. There were just little things that just didn't place me in either. So what then becomes the determiner or the marker of where you belong? So I had that play out for my characters on the one side you have Elaine, who is staunchly patriotic as far as France goes, being a Frenchman, and yet feeling betrayed because he was by his family, by his blood, and the consequences of that were the besmirching of his name and the loss of credibility within that country that he loves. So what is he supposed to do now? He's caught kind of without direction. Meanwhile, you have Marissa, who was raised in a seafaring family, who sees the entire world as her oyster. And she has been a Francophile from a very early age and has loved all things French and all things Paris. And it was really a very bad timing for her because of the war, which has kept her away from visiting France and getting to see this place that she feels this kinship with. All right, and what do I have lined up for you coming up this month? Well, recall that I have those figurines from the Brown Palace Hotel. I'm going to tell you all about those. We're also going to hopefully discuss more about Napoleon's Paris, Wellington's Gold. I haven't figured out how I'm going to separate these things out too much yet. And prison ships. That is another topic of great interest to me, which I looked into for a separate project and then realized I could use for this book, so I did. If any of those sound interesting to you, please do stick around this month and I will share all of the fun details with you. All right, everyone, as always, thank you for joining me for this little meet and greet with the book. If you enjoy these videos, please do remember to like and or subscribe. and I will see you then next week. Until then, happy reading.